A champion racehorse worth a fortune vanishes into the mists of the moor. Its trainer is found dead, his head brutally caved in. The police are baffled, chasing a mysterious suspect with a dark secret. But the real clue isn't the weapon, or the motive, or the footprints. It's the one thing that didn't happen. A shocking truth is hiding in plain sight. A truth so simple, it's invisible, and only one man can see what everyone else has missed. Now, the story itself. Tenny presents Silver Blaze. From the collection, The Memoirs of Sherlock Holmes, by Arthur Conan Doyle.
I am, I believe, one of the most long-suffering of mortals, but I confess that I was looking forward to a quiet autumn after a busy year of work alongside Mr. Sherlock Holmes. My hopes, however, were soon dashed. It was one afternoon when he held a telegram out to me.
I should be glad of your company, Watson. This is from Colonel Ross. He asks for my immediate assistance.
I read the wire. It spoke of the disappearance of the famous racehorse, Silver Blaze, and the violent death of its trainer, John Straker. Within hours, we were on a train bound for the wild open expanse of Dartmoor. We were met at the station by Colonel Ross, the owner of the horse, and Inspector Gregory of Scotland Yard. The inspector was a capable officer, but he lacked the one quality that defined my friend: imagination.
I am glad you have come, Mr. Holmes. This is a most unusual case. John Straker, the trainer, led the horse out for exercise on the moor late at night. He never returned. His body was found in this hollow, his skull shattered by a heavy blow.
He pointed to the spot where a dark stain marked the ground.
In his hand he held this, a small cataract knife, a delicate surgical instrument. And in his pockets we found this receipt for a dress costing 22 guineas made out to a Mr. William Derbyshire.
Address? Most curious.
But the horse, man! What of Silver Blaze? The Wessex Cup is in a week. I need my horse.
The colonel was a man whose priorities were clear. Holmes spent little time at the murder scene. Instead, his attention was drawn entirely to the King's Pyland stables.
The stable boy on duty was drugged. Someone put powdered opium in his supper of curried mutton.
Yes, we have a suspect for that. A local bookie, Fitzroy Simpson. He was seen lurking about, trying to get information. We have him in custody.
And the dog in the stables? Did it bark?
The dog? No, it did nothing.
That is a most interesting point.
Holmes then produced a small box of wax matches. He struck one, holding it close to the muddy ground.
You see, Watson, the tracks of the horse. And a man. But they were heading away from the moor, towards the rival stables at Mapleton.
But the body was found in the opposite direction.
Precisely.
Our investigation led us to Mapleton, the stables of Silas Brown, Colonel Ross's biggest rival. Brown was a surly fellow and denied any knowledge of the missing horse.
I know nothing about it. I've got my own horses to worry about.
But Holmes was not a man to be trifled with. He leaned in, his voice low and sharp.
You have done a clumsy piece of work, Mr. Brown. You have tried to alter the horse's appearance, but you are not an artist. That white blaze on his forehead is unmistakable, even under a coat of paint.
Silas Brown turned deathly pale.
It wasn't me, I swear. I just found him wandering on the moor. I thought I would keep him until after the race. It was a terrible temptation.
I believe you. Now, you will return him to Colonel Ross in time for the Wessex Cup, and you will ensure he is in perfect condition to win. Our little secret, Mr. Brown.
Colonel Ross was distraught, certain his horse was lost forever.
It's hopeless, Holmes. The race is today, and still no sign of him.
I fancy I shall be able to produce him, Colonel.
And produce him he did. A horse bearing the colonel's colours, but with a coat of unfamiliar darkness, ran the race. It won by 6 lengths.
It's not my horse. My horse has a white blaze.
Watch.
Holmes took a cloth and some spirit, and with a few rubs, revealed the familiar white star on the horse's forehead.
Good heavens, Silver Blaze. But who killed John Straker?
I did.
The colonel stared in amazement.
Or rather, I am responsible for finding him. He is right here.
He gestured not to any man, but to the horse itself. On the train back to London, Holmes laid out the solution.
It was all remarkably simple, Watson. John Straker was living a double life. The receipt for the dress was for his mistress. He was deep in debt. He planned to make a fortune by betting against his own horse. To ensure it lost, he intended to inflict a tiny, almost invisible injury using that delicate cataract knife.
It all began to make sense.
The powdered opium would have no effect on the taste of a strongly spiced dish like curried mutton, which is why only the stable boy was affected. Straker led the horse out to the hollow to perform the deed in secret. But as he bent to nick its leg, the horse, sensing danger, lashed out with its powerful hind hoof.
A kick shod with iron. It struck Straker squarely on the forehead, killing him instantly.
But the dog? What of the dog?
That was the key. Inspector Gregory asked me what point I saw in the dog's behavior. I said it was the curious incident of the dog in the nighttime.
The dog did nothing in the nighttime.
That was the curious incident.
Holmes smiled.
A stable dog would bark its head off if a stranger entered the yard. This one did not. Therefore, the person who took the horse out was not a stranger. It was someone the dog knew and trusted. It was John Straker himself.
And so, the mystery was solved not by what was there, but by what was not. The central clue was an absence of action, a silence where there should have been noise. It teaches us that the most vital evidence is often hidden in plain sight, overlooked because we are searching for something tangible. The key question, the one that unlocks everything, is about observation. It is not what do you see, but what do you expect to see that is not there. Holmes's genius was his ability to recognize the significance of this negative evidence. The silence of the dog was more eloquent and revealing than any eyewitness testimony could ever be. It pointed directly to the truth. The culprit was an insider. Next time on Tenny Presents The Musgrave Ritual, from the collection The Memoirs of Sherlock Holmes by Arthur Conan Doyle. Our last case was a puzzle of the present moment, solved on the open moors. But our next will drag us deep into the shadows of the past, into a stately home filled with secrets, a mystery not of a crime, but of a centuries-old secret, where the key to a hidden fortune is buried in a bizarre and ancient family ritual.